I discovered an interesting altcoin from the RWA narrative, which particularly caught my attention due to its tokenomics, and I didn't want to withhold it from you. I analyzed it in detail based on my 20 metrics, and made a price prediction using my 10x formula. Now let's get straight to the analysis. First of all, what is Centrifuge actually? Well, it is a DeFi platform that ultimately digitizes RWAs and issues them as tokens, real estate, or also invoices. So very relevant, and was founded in 2017. And then we first come to my 10x formula, where I ultimately have 20 metrics. And if you really want to see this formula and have it explained, then I highly recommend this video up there, where I explain it in detail. Then let's get started directly with the first point. What is the market capitalization? It is at $198 million, which means it is in the mid-cap sector, so there is still extreme potential. 7 out of 10. Then the next point, how is the circulating supply? Well, 560 million is ultimately the total supply, and 91% are already in circulation, which is extremely good. This indicates that inflation is not high and there is no risk of greater price pressure arising from this, therefore 9 out of 10. And the next point, the roadmap. Well, as I said, we ultimately want to tokenize real-world assets in the DeFi space, so to speak, and in that sense they also have a strong roadmap that specifically aims at this and ultimately returns finances to the investors, so it has clear advantages. 8 out of 10. And the next point, how does the team look? Well, they definitely have an interesting team. Expertise is definitely there, coming from the fintech and blockchain sector, and ultimately they are also very well positioned, therefore 8 out of 10. And the next point, the narrative. Well, as already mentioned, it is the RWA narrative. It is of course very relevant for the upcoming / for the bull run that is just starting, therefore very important, and 7 out of 10. And the next point, what problem does it solve? Well, it solves the problem that, in the end, as already mentioned, for example, it ultimately represents real estate as tokens and thus makes it accessible in the DeFi sector on the platform, which is of course a huge advantage and does not exist yet. 9 out of 10. Then the next point, what about the tokenomics? Well, there is ultimately a maximum supply, which is good, but it is not deflationary. Still, it is used for various use cases and has its incentives, so 8 out of 10. And the next point, what about the investors? Well, Coinbase Ventures has invested, and they also have some good capital providers, which is very positive for the project's liquidity, so 8 out of 10. And the next point, what about capital? Well, as already mentioned, it has enough capital to effectively implement its roadmap and also, for example, to be able to withstand bear markets, which is very positive, so 8 out of 10. And the next point, how do you see marketing? So they are already active on social media and through partnerships and also through various events, but that can definitely be improved. Still to be expanded. Stop, I really have to tell you something. I discovered an altcoin this week that really caught my attention because it ultimately comes from the AI sector, so artificial intelligence, very relevant narratives. Then it has a relatively low market cap, and at the same time the tokenomics are really strong. So all 3 points are really positive. And what's also strange is that not many people are aware of it yet. So I will do my complete analysis again next weekend based on my 20 metrics and my 10x formula. If you don't want to miss it, feel free to subscribe to my channel and don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss the video and also don't miss any insights in the future. And now, let's continue directly. Yes, and let's continue. What is the idea? How simple is it? I would say it is relatively complex, especially in the DeFi area and RWAs regarding the technology. Therefore, only 6 out of 10. And then the next point, what does the long-term vision look like? They ultimately want to merge the financial sector with the RWA sector through DeFi, so extremely relevant, 8 out of 10. And the next point is it deflationary and does it have a maximum supply? So it ultimately has a maximum supply of 560 million tokens, but it does not have a deflationary mechanism, which is of course not optimal, therefore 6 out of 10. And the next point, what about the fully diluted market capitalization? And ultimately, the fully diluted market capitalization is at 180,000, 9 out of 10. And the next point, How does our volume look? Which means it is already quite liquid. That is positive. Therefore 7 out of 10. And the next point, the token distribution. Well, it has been the case that the investors who got in at the very beginning have a lockup period, which is positive. This of course means that there is not so much selling pressure, therefore 8 out of 10. And the next point, how do the top coin holders look? The top 10 wallets hold 55%, which is quite a lot. There are indeed institutional buys in the end and also exchanges, but that is already quite high, therefore 5 out of 10. And the next point, what advantages and use case does the coin have? Well, first governance, then also the protocol, so that you have access to it, staking, and of course DeFi. So there are already many use cases, therefore 9 out of 10. And the next point is the community. It is active on Twitter, which is always good. Twitter is of course very relevant in the crypto space. They also regularly update on Discord and keep the community informed, ultimately sharing the latest news. It's quite positive, therefore 7 out of 10. So then the last point, what does the current market situation look like? Well, it is well positioned because of RWA and DeFi. That is definitely a good combination. Therefore 8 out of 10. And then we already come to the result, 96.9%. That is extremely positive, as mentioned in the intro. I think it has very good tokenomics for being an RWA. And is very positive in the DeFi space, definitely very solid. Here everything is broken down in detail for transparency, and then we come to the forecast. Well, so in the end, in the pessimistic scenario, it could reach 10x, which would be 196. Then, if it goes normally, 50x, which would be up to about $10. And if it were a really extreme bull scenario, it would be 100x, and then it would be almost $20. So, extremely positive. Now that you know the potential of, I have linked an altcoin above that also extremely interested me, also from the RWA narrative. And it has an interesting price forecast, so definitely don't miss it. And then I thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like, and then we'll see you in the next video. Bye.